All right, guys, welcome back to episode 3 of Wave World. Today I got Remy with me, like one of my favorite producers I work with, and just like one of my favorite producers I like to listen to in general. So, how you doing, bro? Like,
I'm doing good, bro. How about you?
man, I'm good, man. It's been a long time, bro. Like,
It really has.
if people who don't know, whoever is watching this, bro, Remy won the first beat battle. Like, this dude is like crazy. Like, I got a lot of questions, just personally. Like, how did you get into producing? Like, what made you start, bro? Like.
All right, so this is actually a long story, but I'm gonna shorten it. I've always been into music my whole life. I had this friend who's always been a music producer, and he's just like, one day he puts me in front of the computer. He says, "Yeah, I'm gonna just let you like just mess around."
Right.
And then so I made something, but he not only once I made it, it sounded trash. Like anybody's like for the first time you get in front of any type of DAW, it's gonna sound trash.
Yeah, anybody.
But he went through and fixed it, and I was like, yeah, I want to be like him one day. So I basically decided to pursue it, and I'm going on 4 years now.
Dang, I could tell you put experience, but you know what's crazy? Seth, like, he didn't have like the same story, but he has like his friend helped him get into producing too. So it's like usually I'd be expecting producers to be like, well, this producer or listen to this song, but you know, like I'd be forgetting like actual people can really help you probably more. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like I of course I had my inspirations. Like I always knew who certain music producers were, but I never really looked into it until I met my friend.
No, I feel you. That's how a lot of people usually are. Like they always have the idea, like maybe I can rap, maybe I can produce, like maybe I can make cover art. Then they see a friend or somebody they know personally doing it. They'd be like, you know, I'm seeing it being done now. Like it's kind of just like with making beats. Like for people who can't make regalia seems like something you can't make. Then you go and watch somebody do it.
Yeah.
In terms of people like you can easily like people like me still gonna take like 6 regalia beats to get to it, but just seeing somebody do it kind of like can make it feel more real, you know, and more than just something that you kind of have the idea of doing. So.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes it like if you see somebody else do it, then you're like, oh yeah, I could do it myself.
No, for real. That's the same like the same way I kind of view success is that it's like if somebody else can do it, there's no reason why me and you can't be the next Kanye, you know, just for an example. Like,
exactly.
He can be like, there's literally no reason. Like, you know, as long as you put the work in, as long as you put in the work in, like I'd be believing that as long as you put the work into things, like you can achieve it. But
for sure.
So your friend got you into like, did you have any musical background? Like you played any instruments or anything like that? Or
yeah, I played piano as a child for like 5 years. So I'm 17 now, and then I've been playing. I started playing when I was 8. I stopped when I was. I think I was like 12 or 13. No, I was 14. I remember. And basically, my friend, I didn't really have anything to do. So my friend basically gave me something music related to do.
I feel you. Bro, you're 17, bro. I mean, I'm only 20, so like it's only 3 years, but bro, I feel old. I be forgetting most of these producers getting like little baby placements and stuff at the age of like 13 and like getting future placements and everything, bro. Like if you're only 17, bro, like I'm not even thinking right. Like, bro, you know how good, like, you're a good producer. Like, you're a great producer at 17. Like, that's wild.
Thank you, bro.
I really didn't know that. Like, bro, you're gonna blow. Like, you're only 17. Like, that's great.
It's
most people still like working on getting good. Like, you're already good. All you got to work on is just getting your stuff out there and networking.
You know, yeah.
That's indeed. Crazy, that's crazy. I feel old, bro. Okay, so like I know you like mentioned your inspirations when I asked you about like how you got into producing. Like, who's some of your like your influence and inspiration? It could be like people I do know and people I don't. So you know, just
all right. So I got a handful of inspirations, but I think that my biggest inspirations, like the person, like my favorite producer, my favorite mainstream producer, my favorite producer who's produced for well-known people is Pierre Bourne. Very simple person. Just it's like I personally make beats that like match the underground vibe or what's popular in the underground, but I wouldn't have those type of beats if it weren't for Pierre Bourne coming before and making stuff that inspired that. And then my favorite producer as of now, super underrated. Like, shout out Clever, bro. It's CLVR, bro.
No, I know you're talking about. No, trust. When you had I think you had even said that, like, when I had asked a question, like, a poll or something on Wavero, and you have like put Clever, I'm like, you know, I see his name all the time on SoundCloud, and I hear the beats like, so I can like, you always showing love, like that's real though. Like he is a good producer. Because even when you said, I was like, I see him all the time, like he's going crazy, like.
Indeed, and like I look up to him mostly because of how different his like vibe and aesthetic is. Like the beats that he put out, I've never once heard a bad beat that he's put out. He always puts out quality beats. He's got a very, very loyal fan base. He's like super cool. Like he's a super cool dude.
Right.
And then just all together, he's just like he's doing stuff right.
No, I understand. No, I get what you're saying. Like actually that kind of makes me I'm gonna write something down because they actually made me think of two questions. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
So like, I know you said like you mentioned like his aesthetic and stuff, and I was like, usually before I interview producers and stuff, I try and like, you know, do research and just like look around and stuff, like ask them questions that adhere to them. So I'm not just asking like generic questions. And you know, like one thing I noticed about like your Instagram or just like even your YouTube and TikTok, like TikTok's a little different, but at least your Instagram and like YouTube, you have an aesthetic that you adhere to, and even if it's not on purpose, I notice it. Even like when I'm scrolling and stuff, I see it. And I really stress this to a lot of producers now. Like some people might not take my advice because, you know, I'm not no huge producer, but I honestly do believe like having a clean looking type of Instagram, it's like your brand, you know, like your BeatStars, your YouTube, it's your brand, you know. So like, how do you feel about like producers having like an aesthetic? And when I say aesthetic, I don't mean something you're forcing yourself to like, you know, put a bunch of anime characters or put a bunch of, you know, like Asian rock movies, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got you. Have an authentic aesthetic, you know? Like, how do you
like, so that's actually a really good question. I feel like artists and producers just in the music industry, like all together, aesthetics are really, really popular. Like now, it's like one of those things that you got certain like, hold on, I got to think of a.
No, you're all right. Take your time. Yeah.
You got like Sleepy. He prods regalia beats, so most of his like aesthetic is going to be like super crazy looking kingdom aesthetic photos, right. Like with like medieval looking type of stuff.
Not good. You're saying.
And then like you got there's people who make Destroy Lonely beats. Most of the Destroy Lonely beats are this dark grungy aesthetic that usually adheres to like, well, it exactly what I said.
I get what you're saying. Like if you're a producer, I know what you're saying. Like you can look up regalia type beats right now on YouTube. You'll see a whole bunch of castles and crows. You look at Destroy Lonely, you see a bunch of like people in the dark, you know, like
exactly.
If you're a producer, even if you're not a producer, just look up Young Faisal type beats, look up Lil Baby type beats, even for an example for a mainstream artist. Like the type of music you make can kind of, I guess, go hand in hand with your aesthetic, you know.
But the in terms of importance to aesthetic in like anything in general, I found that your audience or like as a producer, just depending on how you want to carry yourself out as a producer, your audience is going to look at your aesthetic and like the way that you bring yourself out to the public. Right. So for me, I've always chosen anime because it's just something that I've always loved since I was a little kid. And so I just chose anime, but I like occasionally I'll switch up the like aesthetic and for a visualizer or something like that. It's just depending on the beat. Yeah. But I do think that like, it's not required to have a set aesthetic, but I feel like it's like it's definitely a pro.
Yeah, it definitely helps, you know, because there's a lot of producers who like don't even post, you know, like might have like just the MP3 type of, you know, with the 3 lines, like, and they're big producers, but for some it does help more than others. Like I like that you said, I see the anime post in the background, you know, I like anime too, so I like how like the aesthetic you chose or just like the type of pictures, visual. Yeah, the visual stuff you chose means something to you, or at least it's something you like, not just something you're using to catch other people's attention. Because, you know, before you get famous and stuff, the aesthetic you have, the pictures you choose to post on Instagram, etc., or YouTube, it still has to be something that you like, you know. So I respect that. And like in terms of like, I know you talked about your aesthetic, and you know it was something you've enjoyed anime since you were young. Like you say, you've been making beats for 4 years, so I'm guessing since you were 17. 13.
I started when I was 13.
Okay, I had to do the math real quick. So, like, what was it like starting out? I know you said the first beat was bad. Like, How
All
long did
right,
it take you to
so
get it, Carol?
all right, so this is a very, very, very rough story. I say I started at 13, but technically was making stuff on GarageBand, but that doesn't count. I'm not gonna
No, I
lie.
get it.
That doesn't count. I started just like seriously producing and stuff when I was like 13. I had oh god, you know this website called Soundtrap?
Yeah. Bro, Steph brung up the same site in his. I only know it because he
Bro,
had brung it up. Like, that's crazy.
bro, it was like I had this little Chromebook, bro. Like I had this Chromebook. That's all I had. I would pull up Soundtrap and then I would do my best to make a good beat. It just
Steph
wasn't
brung up the
working.
same thing. Like,
So when I think I asked my parents for my 14th birthday for a decent laptop, and they gave it to me. I finally downloaded FL Studio, cracked it. And
everybody.
yeah, it was, and then it was just steady improvement from there. Like even when I got onto FL Studio, like people always envision like this is goes out to all my BandLab artists out there or BandLab prods. People envision when you like switch to FL, you're gonna be the best rapper ever and you're gonna have the best No,
It's
no,
not like that at all. It's not
no.
like that at all.
It's you're gonna have to take time to get used to the particular like FL Studio was completely hard for me to learn because I just wasn't I wasn't expecting it. There's so much that you have to learn. You have to learn how you want to go about making stuff. But once you do, and like this doesn't even just go for people who are switching to FL. Any like DAW or any like whatever you make your music on, whether that be Ableton, Logic Pro, once you get used to it, you'll get good enough.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I feel like knowing how to use FL is a lot more important than people make it seem. Because like even today, of course, you're not gonna know everything. I'm still learning stuff every day, especially with all the new updates and stuff. But it's like knowing the shortcuts and everything will make so many things so much easier and so much like easier to learn to get better. Like once you know, like, it's just like with making beats. Once you know how to make beats, you can get better. Once you know how to use FL, you know, a lot of people just like, I remember me too. Like I got FL on my dad's computer, and I thought once I get, that's all I need. That's the reason why my beats aren't good. You know, like I don't have FL, but it's not the reason. The beats aren't good because I have not learned. You know, I have not practiced enough. But that's like for most people, except for people who are prodigies and stuff. But most people are like, it takes way more than just a good FL, a good MIDI keyboard, good sound equipment. People think if you have the best speakers and stuff, you know,
I thought when I got a MIDI keyboard too, it made me the best prod.
Me too. I was like, no, you actually have to get good at either playing the keys or knowing how to use it. Like it's more to it, but it's kind of like good to look back on it because one, it makes you realize how relatable your experience is, so you're not alone. But also like kind of makes you think about how far you came. Like I was like on Snapchat the other day and going through Snap memories. And I listened to a beat I made. I was like, bro, this is garbage. But I wasn't mad. I was like, you know, it's been a year. Like I remember back then, I probably thought it was good. And imagine a year from now, what I'm gonna think about my beats now. Like, so it's crazy when you think about how it works.
Because like when I do that, like when I make a beat, I'm probably I always have the thought in mind. I'm gonna look back at this in probably a year. I'm gonna be like, man, this was trash. And then, but then that means that in the future that I've gotten better.
Exactly.
That I've advanced.
Exactly.
And like,
if you don't see any flaws, and even if you make the best beats, I'm pretty sure like even Nick Mir or Kanye West, Nick Mir or Kanye West, just using good producer for an example, they look back and beats and like, man, this is bad, or I could have fixed this. Like that just proves how much you've grown and how much you are growing.
Everyone does it. I mean,
exactly.
It happens.
It's part of the creative process, you know. Like, So, all right. One thing I want to ask, like, let's say if you seen your 13-year-old self starting out now, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
Good question. Good question. Wow. So when I was younger, like I had I have ADHD. And when I was younger, I always thought that I'd get in the way of music production. So I lost motivation a lot of times. Like there was a time where I basically gave up on it. And if I had to go back then, like if I could go back then and give myself some advice, I would just tell him that I would tell myself that the grind was worth it. Like the grind pays off eventually.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
That's the truest thing too. Like I've quit 2, 3 times, three, 5 times. Like I'm 20 now. I started making beats when I was 13, but I really just started taking everything serious like a year and like 8 months ago, honestly. And I feel like if I really just grinded and made good beats and tried to learn, I probably would have had Wave World set up and everything. And I don't want to put in like a regret type of thing, but just knowing that hard work does pay off kind of makes me stay focused now. So when I do get ready to quit, I know like how far I've came, So
exactly.
But I'm happy like that you kind of spoke on that, because I feel like a lot of producers are kind of quit and don't talk about it. And, like I said, I've quit 3-5 times, like a lot, but
it's easy to lose motivation.
It really is, especially as a producer, because there's so many of us. It's hard at first, especially, and it's, even if you're starting out, if you're not that good, then you go on YouTube, you might start comparing yourself, or Instagram, etc. So
it's so easy. You gotta. I've learned so quickly, like the best thing to do when you see somebody who's better than you, when it comes to music production, is to look up to them, not try to compare yourself to them.
Exactly. If anything, you should want to learn from them. Like,
exactly.
Like I think like you're a better producer than me. I'm 20, you're 17, but most people be like, he's a younger producer. I'm trying to learn from you, and then just using you for an example. Like you might see something I'm doing, or Seth, Aiden example. They might see something I'm doing. We might want to learn from each other. Like I never like look at it. Even like I don't know if you know who Max Shooter is, but he's like this producer. He's like 17.
I know who Max Shooter is.
He's 17. He's the same age as you, like 17. But he's fire, and I know people watching him was probably 30 years old, but they're still looking at him. But I kind of feel like that's kind of a good thing about producers, is like no matter what age or where we're from, like we're able to connect. That's why, like a lot of producers I work with live in Tokyo, like, but I'm still able to connect with them, and it just proves that music is bringing us together. Especially music.
Exactly. At the end of the day, we're all producers.
Exactly. Like we're all trying to get to the same point, and then like even Mac Shooter, for an example, he's still trying to get to a better point or a higher standard.
So one thing that I've learned about music is that it's impossible to become perfect. Like once you get to a certain point, there's always a better level.
Exactly. If you get to the point where you think you can be better, then you actually have fallen off to an extent. I feel like if you get to the point where like, oh, my beats are all fine, you should feel good about your beats, but you just want to, what can I do differently? And that's not even a bad thing. You should be asking yourself like that every beat, like not specifically always trying to go outside the box, but just think of ways to improve, and grow. But since we're like speaking on like different producers, like, do you have any like feelings or opinions on the producer industry you want to like out? I always try and give the producer like it sometime, they might have something on their chest, either some things they don't like, some things they do like, to go ahead.
Right. Like I got something that I've been trying to get off my chest for the longest time. All right. Since when did it used to be like the last time that I checked, it was producers asking artists what their budget is. How come it's artists asking producers what their budget is now? Why? I don't understand that.
When I first like seen artists posting like placements, I'm like, didn't they like? Let me watch my language. Try to get on YouTube. These dudes paying for placements. I'm like that's not like, I'm not saying it's fake because it still is a placement. Like, but I'm like, I really couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is a new thing. Like, no, I'm happy you brought that up. Like, and then what it is? There's a lot of producers doing it. That's what's making it like a thing. Like, there's a reason why I go on Jay's story every day. He's selling placements and stuff. I'm like, how many people are buying these placements? Like, this is not like, also, it's not even about buying a placement. You're not going to get nowhere, if you just buying your way through there. It's like, people, it's not the same.
I feel like producers nowadays, they just want to get what they think is the top.
Yep.
And I've preached this to several people, and I'll say it again. Don't fiend for placements.
Yes.
If you grind and you allow yourself to improve enough, then you'll get your connects and you'll get your placements, but never fiend for a placement, because that's the worst thing you can do.
Exactly. I'm so happy you said that. Like, that's some of the best advice I've heard. I remember I think probably around the time I started getting good, which is like a year and a half ago, I like DM'd like this big producer. I don't know if you know like Eli.yf, but he's like produced for K Suave.
Yeah.
Like, D Savage, a lot of underground art. He got a lot of placements, like 10,000 followers. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, how do I get placement stuff? He was just like, well, he told me some stuff about like how to make better beats, but he was also like, just don't worry about it. And I never even thought about not worrying about it. But since he told me not to worry about that, things have been so much better. Because it's like I know that when all you're worried about is placements, you're not worried about getting better or producing in general. So that's
well, yeah, exactly.
It's like that overcomes the actual like thoughts of getting better and wanting to grow.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm not just saying that either. Like, I've watched it firsthand. I haven't gotten any placements yet, but it's like I watched someone like he was watching all of his friends around him get placements, and he was like super bent about it. Like he was the only one out of his whole friend group of prods that didn't have a placement. And as soon as he stopped worrying about it and just kept on grinding, the placement came to him.
Exactly. I mean, that kind of goes to like, that kind of connects to most everything in producing. Like if you're uploading on YouTube and you're only worried about the views, you know how hard it is. Like you're never ever gonna grow. And then I know how frustrating it can be when you're not worried about it. When you're only focused on making sure you're uploading. That's when things will really start to get better. You just start to notice, like, since I've been consistent, even though I'm not getting 3,000 views every video, I'm not getting 20 views a video like how I used to get. So it's kind of like with everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you're just working on putting the work in, the results will show. The results will show.
It always happens. It's never failed.
Exactly. Like in terms of everything. So, but placements, I'm also happy you brought that up. I never understood the whole like buying placements thing. Like I'm not knocking it because I want to see everybody win as long as I hate nobody. But
winning's winning. But
that's
there's
like,
better.
And then it'll be people like that who will like try and shit on other producers that I won't mess with. I'm like, you bought a placement, like that's like it's like buying first place or something. Not that like getting placements.
That's like
it's like buying your weight.
Exactly. It's like in a way. You ever heard the term industry plant? I don't think I'm not calling them industry plants.
It's not the same, but
it's almost the same pay to win type of thing.
It's exactly that, like paying to win. Like I'm not trying to hate on it, but at the same time I am. It's like I just can't get down with it. Like, I don't. Also, like it's really not going to help you. Like it's really won't.
If you cool with wasting, I mean, hold on.
It might though. At the same time,
let me reword it. If you're cool with using your money on placements and you got the money to do so, you do you. But
if you have the money, like go ahead. But it's even still, like there's other things you can invest in. Like there's a lot of other things. If you have a lot of money as a producer, dude, don't go out and buy placements. Buy a BST. Like buy
a BST.
There's other things you can put your money into.
Exactly.
You will regret your money. I feel like that's what happens a lot of times now. I never done it, so I can't speak personally. But I feel like you buy it. You realize like how unhelpful it is. But.
I know I have friends who bought placements who realize, well, like most artists who give placements don't end up posting the song on their page. You just have a useless song by the artist stuck in your files. And
then most of the time it might only be on SoundCloud, so most people won't even be able to find it.
Exactly.
So it really will not help you. Like I want to kind of ask like a few questions more about just like the beat making process, like where you're making a beat, like I've seen a bunch of FLPs and everything. Yeah. How do you usually what's your routine? Like you start with drums, or I'm assuming you usually most people start with melodies, but like, how do you go about it? Like,
all right. So it just depends on the genre and the particular beat sometimes it just really just depends on how how seriously I'm taking the beat. Mm-hmm. But most of the time I usually come up with I'll sit there in front of I won't have anything on the playlist, and I'll sit there and I'll just create a melody in my head. Then I'll pin it up on a pin in I have this imaginary it's a place in the back of my mind.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, idea to the back of your head. No, I get it.
And then I basically take the idea that I have up on the imaginary clipboard, and then I put it on the piano roll, and then I add usually I do melody, then it just depending on the type of beat I'm making. Usually I'll add the lead or a counter melody, then I'll add the drums. I'm weird. I usually start with my 808s first, which is weird enough, but it just
It sounds interesting though.
yeah. Usually
808s
I
do
start
set the
with
tone though, so I mean, like,
yeah, exactly. And then like I'll add my drums after that,
mhm,
and if I need to change the 808s accordingly, then I will.
mhm,
But usually I start with my 808 so I can get a good idea of how bouncy I want the drums to be,
right.
or how solid I want them to be.
Okay, now that makes sense though.
Yeah.
So, do you like, or how are you with mixing? Like, do you use a whole bunch of
Mixing,
mixing plugins? Do you just level everything out? Like, how are you? You know, because everybody's
that's
different.
you're really asking really good questions. I I've always heard from other people that my mix is super clean. Uh,
Yes, it is.
but I would say 6 months ago I'd suck. I would be absolutely ass. Oh, sorry. Am I not
No,
allowed
you
to
good.
cuss?
You good. No, no, it's after 3 minutes. I had to make sure, like, after 3 minutes, you good. Yeah, you can say whatever.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's gonna be terrible. Like, I mean, I was terrible. Like, I could barely even use EQ. Like, I could barely even EQ. But now I've watched tons of tutorials. I've gotten like huge advice from a bunch of bigger prods. And then I just watched, like, people always ask me, what's the best way to learn how to produce music?
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell them video tutorials on YouTube. It's super easy. Like that's how I gather my inspiration.
You know, I learned from tutorials mostly too, so I will agree with that. Like, it is
Yeah.
easy, you know, and it also the most accessible. Like, besides that, like, nobody's reading books on FL. Like, you know, there's schools for it, but most people are not, like, don't have the type of, like, resources to be able to go to a music school, especially a music production school. Like, I know a producer who went there, and it's like he posts TikToks about it all the time. Like, it's crazy, but think about how rare that is to have that type of opportunity, you know. So tutorials definitely do help.
For sure.
But speaking of like helping, like, ways to learn how to produce, like, what is some of your advice you would offer to other prods? Like, just in general, it could be whatever.
Huh. So I have, like, it just depend on the question, but I think my biggest advice for any going out to any prod in general is to just do what you love. Don't stick to a genre that you hate. Don't produce a genre that you hate. If you hate it, I feel like the worst time for a producer is the time where they start losing motivation because they're producing stuff that they don't like.
Yes.
I
understand. I'm not trying to interrupt, but just I've been there, so I understand. Like a few months ago, like, I was posting, like, R&B beats, and my views were going up. Like, I was getting from, like, 300 to, like, 1,000. Like, I remember one week I was making, like, 1,000 views every day of the week. Like, there's only 3 videos, so I only upload 3 a week. But I was so happy. But I was just like, I was losing my love for it because I'm like, I'm only doing this just to upload, and, like, I don't want to stop because I don't want my views to go down. But it's like I don't want to just make beats just for views. Like, that's not why I got to produce it, you know. And, like, even though I made the choice to stop and my views have gone down, I've been happier, and I've been selling, like, more beats and, like, getting. When I say placements, I mean, like, underground placements, like getting, like, underground placements and stuff. Like, so, like, things have worked out. Like, my views are horrible now. Like, they're way down, but I'm not upset because when I say horrible, they're just not as big, you know. Like, they're not as much, you know. But I'm happy and I'm satisfied because, one, the beats I'm uploading are all good. Like, they're all, like, a lot of the R&B beats I was uploading for some reason, even though I thought they were either bad or mid, they were getting a lot of views. But I'm so much more happy with the stuff I'm making and uploading now because it's what I like and what other people are even using more, you know?
Exactly. I mean, the thing is, people always worry about when their views go down, but I just hold on. All right. But people worry about when their views go down. I don't, like, I get it. Less people are seeing your content, and less people, like, I guess you could say it is a bad thing to a certain extent, but then again, you never know. Somebody could click on your video and it could just be like, it could be the right person. You never know.
Right, exactly.
Like you'd be surprised on how many artists go up and just look up type beats, and who knows, you just might end up on the recommended.
No, that's true. Like, honestly, it's just, and also you'll be proud of it because it's something you enjoyed making and that you believed in it. You know, like, I like the R&B beats, and I still like making R&B now. but it's not like, at least for right now, it's not really what I'm feeling the most. It is not what I'm the most happy. And also, I'm not pushing myself to get better. Just making chords, 3 leads, and then doing the drums. Like, it's better just to push myself, do different genres, etc. Doing what I'm feeling more.
I feel that, yeah.
Okay, so like it's the last few minutes like an interview. I just want to ask like a few like personal questions, just like to like personal to you, obviously. Like, what are you listening to now? Like, what are you rotating?
That's a God, you ask good questions. You don't gotta worry about you don't gotta worry about that. I'm cool. I don't really got anything to do.
Okay.
All right, so am I allowed to drop artist names?
Yeah. You can say
Okay.
Say like artist, genre, whatever. Like it could be anything. SoundCloud or like popular, whatever,
Damn, DC the Don been on rotate, but that's nothing new. Like I've been bopping DC the Don since
I'm looking at your YouTube right now. I can tell.
Jades, that's one of the like people get surprised when I say I like Jades because usually I don't make those type of beats, but like Jades is, oh my god, his most recent album was top tier. I've been had that on repeat, and he's got some really good older songs. Osama Sun, very fire. Rolling Thrax, very fire.
Yeah.
There's a lot of artists, but I've been mostly bopping underground. Like there's some really good artists coming up for sure. Tana, like just all together. Like I feel like I have a few friends that are super slept on. Shout out Mako, man. Been putting him on repeat. If y'all haven't, go check out Mako 444 on all platforms.
I'll throw his name up. I got you, bro.
Yeah, he's super fire. But yeah, like I try to keep a variety because like just like I don't like producing the same thing. I don't like listening to it.
No, I understand. Like I understand. Like
yeah.
No, go ahead, bro. No, I'm interviewing you. Go ahead.
I almost forgot. Breakins is probably my most listened to artist right now. Yeah, Breakins is like I've only uploaded one type beat of like that is a Breakins type beat, but Breakins just he's too fire.
Okay, that's a good lineup. No, that's valid. That's pretty valid. That's pretty valid actually. Okay, nah, those are good picks. The only thing like I was gonna say was just like I know like I guess when you had who'd you say? Yes, you had brung somebody up, and when you had said Jades, you were like, I know a lot of people might be surprised because like it's not the type of stuff I make, or like I might not look like I listen to it, but I understand that because like I make like a lot of like underground beats, but I listen to like a lot, maybe not that many mainstream, but I still listen to mainstream music. A lot of people think like a lot of my times my friends will be like, yeah, we don't want to listen to all that. I'm like, I listen to normal music too, like it's like just because I make these type of beats, like, I listen to like the same stuff. Like I listen to Lil Baby sometimes, like just for an example, he's a popular rapper. Like I still listen to him, Well, Lucky's still kind of like in the middle, but I still like I listen to B's and I don't even make like that many of the Detroit beats. Like I listen to Baby. It's just like just because we might make this type of music or like we look like we don't listen to this, especially as producers, it's important to listen to more than what you make or more than just underground music. Exactly, and if you're only making mainstream beats, you need to listen to some underground music. Like it's very important to have a variety.
People have been asking me I'm not trying to like be like brag on myself or anything, but people have been asking me. Like they've been saying that recently my beats have been getting super diverse, like stuff that I've never heard before. And they were asking me how I got that sound. And it's by listening to stuff I would never listen to. Like I was listening to Japanese, like I was listening to like a bunch of Japanese artists and composers. And I put that all together using the same sounds and sound selection or like using the same inspiration that they would for my beats. And that's how I've gotten my newer sound.
Right. I mean, that's really, like, as a creative or as a producer in general, that's what you should be doing, using like different sources, especially music. When I'm sampling, sometimes I do sample the real records I have. And it might be like a lot of times I go out and buy like 50 cent and dollar records, which could be like some Turkish music or something. But I might find something I like and I might sample it, because I sample a lot. But even for you, like you make some of the most crazy melodies I've heard. Like, I can only imagine like being able to hear some and being able to make like that type of stuff. So like, but I hear it like in the beats. Like I was listening to a bunch of them like before the interview and everything. So I definitely hear like the diversity and just the names, bro. Like, your names are like when I go on your channel, like, I'll be like, yeah, he knows what he's doing. Experimental plus DC the Don plus Jace type beat, like, bro, like that's some crazy stuff in general. You know that? Like,
Yeah.
that's just like fire. Like, but I like that it's different or like it's you. But also like when I hear it, maybe also because like you know you're my friend and stuff, so like I'm used to hearing your beats and stuff. But I know it's your beat. When you hear a DevStacks beat, when you hear a Cullen beat, you know it's them. Like when I hear your
Exactly,
stuff, you know I hear. But that's what a lot of producers lack, you know, in their own sound. And I'm trying to find my own sound still. So I feel like, but it's something that a lot of producers lack. But it's also because they're not looking to find it, you know. But using
it's not a bad thing,
right? It's not bad at all. Like I'm still trying to find mine. But since I'm in pursuit of trying to find like the type of beats I like to make the most or the sound I have, I feel like it's better than just trying to either copy or trying to make the same type of beat all the time, you know.
What I did.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
What I did to find my own sound, this could be very bad or very good depending on how you take it.
Mm-hmm.
I just combined a bunch of the stuff, like the sounds that I love, and then put it into like I literally this like when I make a type beat, it's everything that I want it to sound like. Like it's like I'm taking everything I love about music and putting it into a beat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I go for. That might not work for certain people, but it works just fine for me.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean but I'm happy that you found like your way of going about beat making and finding your own sound. You know, that's kind of like what prevents people, or not prevents, but prohibits people from finding their own sound. They haven't found like their way. That they're either VST. Sometimes it can be a thing like a VST, or like a way to make beats. They just haven't found that yet. But you found, for lack of better words, you found it. You know that makes you like make the beats the way you like and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But just like the last, I guess. Sorry. Last personal question. Like, damn, I forgot that fast. Bro, I've been trying. Oh, hold on, I gotta hear it. Hold on. Sorry, bro. Okay, so I know like you have a lot of different like content. Like you got TikToks. You're always posting reels. You're always posting on Instagram, sending out beats, loops, FOPs for Wave World tutorial to help us out. Like beats. I see you're uploading a lot. What do you have a schedule, or do you just like what's your work schedule like? You know, at least for producing wise.
For me, I think it's very good to have one as a producer. I try to keep one. My uploading schedule is basically I have set days to upload on YouTube because I was told to do this. It just works better for the algorithm. I either upload on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, or I upload on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. And I try to keep a very consistent like upload rate. I've kind of been lacking, but I do keep that when it comes to TikToks and Instagram reels.
Yeah,
completely organized.
I fall off on TikTok so much. I understand.
Yeah, and then recently with making like loops and sending out beats. I've been trying to do weeklies, and it's working well for me. I feel like it's definitely giving me a creative, Like I was having creator block before this, before I started making weeklies, and then I basically just like that fixed it.
I seen the young boy. I wish I had a clip so I could pull it. That would be so fun. But it was fire though. That's why I was like, this is good. Like you a good producer, bro. This is actually good.
Bro, that beat was so random. You don't understand. So basically the story behind that, my friend, he's like, imagine if Remy made something super mainstream. And then he said, I bet Remy couldn't make a Baton Rouge beat. I was like, you want to bet? And then I said, give me 2 hours. I got you. And then I gave it to him. He rapped on it. And yeah.
The last thing I just want to do you have anything like any kits, loops, like any emails, YouTube channel, like anything you want to tell people to look out for?
Look out for the uploads. I've been kind of falling off with the uploads recently, but I'm gonna get back to them. I promise. For anyone who's watching who does care, I'm gonna get back to that. Got a kit coming, Paradox. I decided to do this for I'm either gonna drop it for hitting 1K on Instagram, or for like my 300 YouTube subscribers. I'm not completely sure. But either way, shout out 500 Years for doing the VFX, getting that real soon. That's coming real soon. Look out for that. And then, of course, shout out Wave World. You know, make sure to like. I'm sure we'll probably be on like y'all's page, right? Like,
yes,
all y'all's page. Make sure that you do like if you're on YouTube, do all the YouTube stuff. You're on TikTok, do all the TikTok stuff. So on and so forth. You want to keep yourself updated with Wave World. Got some good content. Plus, for those of you who care, which I know there's some people who do, free FLPs. We give them out all the time.
Yes, bro. Yes. Tutorials,
then,
everything.
Tutorials, FLPs, all of that. Wave World's just the way to go for all your musical needs, I guess.
And I'm gonna put that in the next video. Thank you for watching. This is Remy, one of my favorite producers I work with, just in general. Go follow him on everything: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, like everything. Buy the kits, sign up for the loops, and sign up. Get some beats from him. Send them your email. So appreciate y'all for watching.